us some of the latest research findings on Menin inhibitor that you have shared in your presentation?
So at this year's SOHO meeting, I shared the latest updates on Menin inhibitors for the treatment of acute leukemias and potentially other hematologic malignancies. Our research right now has reached a critical point where it's about to be translated, we hope, into commercially available drugs. One of the leading candidates for Menin inhibitor therapy is up for USA regulatory approval, and that is based on data with up to now 4 different Menin inhibitors showing clinical efficacy and clinical responses in patients with acute leukemias, which are refractory and relapsed to up to 3, 4, 5 lines of therapy. Overall, I summarized the current progress, demonstrating that among these 4 agents, most of which are still in early testing, that there are clinical complete response rates in the range of 20 to 30%, and overall survival benefit in the range of 6 to 8 months in the absence of allogeneic stem cell transplantation. This is the first targeted therapy for patients with specific biology of disease, that including are characterized by a KMT2A or MLL gene rearrangement or by an NPM1 mutation. These particular subsets of leukemia make up 5 and 30% of newly diagnosed acute myeloid leukemia cases, so the impact of these inhibitors can be felt on a large proportion of newly diagnosed and relapsed refractory acute myeloid leukemia patients. Future research was also discussed and will include the ongoing clinical trials where these Menin inhibitors with, however, relatively low response rates are now moving into the upfront therapy and in novel combinations.
Thank you so much. And how do you think Menin inhibitor will change the treatment strategies for MDS patients?
So MDS patients don't have a high percentage of disease driven by KMT2A rearrangements or by NPM1. However, there is data in the laboratory that has identified other biological subsets characterized by specific mutations that may also be positively impacted or inhibited by Menin inhibitors. And these include patients both with AML and MDS, characterized by what we think are transcription factor MEIS-driven tumors. These are potentially mutations such as SF3B1, RUNX1, AXL1, NUP98, and currently there are ongoing clinical trials investigating whether these Menin inhibitors may also be of use and induce clinical responses in those particular mutational subsets. If those trials read out that there might be activity, then it would be quite reasonable to propose future clinical trials looking at patients with pre-leukemia or MDS to see whether this could impact on particularly high-risk MDS patients prior to their overt transformation to AML. So we will have to wait and see, but the fact that this could impact additional numbers of patients with both AML and MDS is actually very appealing.
What do you think is the potential of a Menin inhibitor in the future research on the treatment of hematologic malignancies?
So Menin inhibitors apparently seem to have right now the greatest impact in acute leukemias, both acute myeloid leukemia as well as acute lymphocytic leukemia characterized by KMT2A rearrangements. We are hopeful that again, if they are active in other mutational or biological subsets, that the benefits of Menin inhibition could also be seen in myeloproliferative disease that may also be characterized, for example, by AXL1. There's ongoing research looking to see whether Menin inhibition could also be of use in other hemolignancies like lymphoma. So there's at least one Menin inhibitor that's being explored more broadly. And there are potential implications because of the key role of Menin as a scaffold protein to see whether there might even be solid tumor malignancies which could be affected by this. So this opens an entirely new field of investigation for us.